Alright guys, Hatchgramic again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after another day of practice for Optic Texas, Pred believes he's really finding his groove on this game at the moment, largely with the MCW in hand. Last night in some of the most impressive maps that Optic played up against Temp's team in a set of scrims, Pred was not getting all that much hill time, and it was Shotzzy doing it the other way around. Is this now the solution for Optic Texas as they continue to grasp how they're going to work from an SMG perspective on this title? Very much on Twitter, your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. This is pretty funny here with Shane, of course, former pro player, but coach of the Los Angeles Thieves. Jonas Thieves drops a nuke on him here on Rust, which I thought he found pretty entertaining to say the very least. There was also this I thought was pretty spectacular. I want to actually play from Aches. And there was lots of talk in the replies that, wow, the amount of GAs, we talked about GAs earlier today and the drama involved there, but the amount of stuff that would be changed back in the day. This is a scrim. As we can see here, we've got a scrim between, LVG. So this is when, Scump was here and Aches and TP and those guys, and they're playing a Modern Warfare 3 scrim here on Dome Demolition, which is kind of crazy. But you spawn in with 2 tacticals, throw them out, and, it's just watching this gameplay is pretty funny because nowadays a lot of this stuff would not fly. But yeah, 15 minutes of a 50 bomb here that Aches drops on Dome Demolition, which is, yeah, phenomenal throwback to be honest. But there's probably quite a lot of stuff in this that people nowadays, especially the pros, would not be happy with. I mean, you spawn in with like 70 bullets in your magazine, a couple of stuns, like there's no way the current generation of pros would accept this stuff, but back in the day that's just how things were and people played the game out of the box. And today that is not necessarily the case at all. And even as Theory says here, with G8 multiple ARs, like the MTZ is gone, the Holger is gone. The Holger might not even be that good nowadays to be honest, given the nerf that they gave to it, but it's still going to be banned because that's what the pros did week 1. But there's lots of things the pros are trying to get rid of, but the MCW is still the dominant weapon. So it's interesting debate on this because, should they be forced to use the worst AR in the game? Maybe. But the MCW is just one of those guns that people like to use. It has low recoil, it's pretty fun. I don't think the pros are going to get rid of it, even if it is the best gun by far. Probably, eventually, we will start to see more SMGs be used as teams understand how to make that work on certain maps, but also probably as relative nerfs and buffs for the SMGs. Hopefully it's buffs for the SMGs more than nerfs to the ARs continue to come through. As Noah says in the replies, there is a reasonable option to say, all right, you're only allowed to use 2 ARs per team, which I don't really think is necessarily a great idea, but it does largely depend on these maps. The way a lot of the maps are designed, you just can't really get away with using an SMG a lot of the time. Sometimes it's okay, but on a lot of maps, you're just going to get fried. And even like Terminal and stuff, you just can't really get away with a rival. The lines of sight just don't make it work. So we're seeing so many MCWs right now, and Pred finds himself in a similar position. Here he is with the MCW in hand on Terminal, absolutely cooking people. I don't know if he's on host here, but yeah, he was definitely completely frying and using an AR as well. We know that players like Hydra and Pred and Scump, for example, all have had relatively similar playstyles over time. They're going to be really good with an AR in hand, as Pred obviously is as well, especially when the gun is really, really good. But this seems to be what Pred has done over the last couple of days, certainly last night in Optic practice as well, using an AR where possible and when it makes sense to do so, having Shotzzy on, potentially sometimes the only SMG, and having him sometimes be the man sitting in the hardpoint, because at least some hills on this game, the lines of sight from the hill can be kind of close range. It does depend, but, back in World War II, for example, the meta was put your AR in the hardpoint because many of the hardpoints had longer lines of sight that you wanted your AR to chow with because, the hardpoint was quite far back. On this game, you can definitely get away with having your SMG in the hill. Certain maps, for example, here on Karachi, sure, the rival in the hardpoint is going to work, but sometimes it seems like Optic are going for Pred running around, sometimes with an AR, just getting kills, being a roaming Slayer, and as he says in this clip I'll share in a second, just running around getting kills seems to be a viable strategy, but someone's got to get the time. It might be Kenny, he might fill the gaps, it might be Shotzzy as well, especially from an SMG side, might make sense. But we got to see a bit more of this last night when Optic Texas played up against the new Spartan Nation apparently here. So this is the Temps team. They've either signed to an org, or it's tough to say really how many organizations in challenges are playing their players. Quite often what might happen in challenges, like the organization will finance, going to the events and stuff. They'll pay travel, they'll pay accommodation and stuff like this. They'll pay the entry fee for the event. But doing more than that, especially nowadays, even for like Team War and other great organizations that have been around in challenges, supporting it for years, it's just a struggle to make the numbers add up, you know what I mean? Even last year, Awoba of the Awoba Bobs, who had Abuzo and Linz on his team, was going through like, you know, it was difficult to break even unless he was able to sell his players to the league, which is eventually what he did. So I'm sure he did pretty decently off the season. But even with a team that's dominating challenges, it's still tough to make money, and like I hope at least that the format over that will change over the coming years, but we know full well that the CDL, for all they said about, oh, the second pillar is all about challenges and everything, hasn't really worked out that way, has it? But it's cool to see nonetheless that some organizations, you know, Houston Spartans or whatever, are actually still interested in getting involved, and it's not necessarily just going to be Team Temp forever. There's actually a name behind these guys. But yeah, so Sparts, Temp, Prolute, and TJ Halley, they played a set of scrims yesterday. Just before I share the clip here, I'm not going to like share this one raw, but have a look at this. So TJ goes down, he gets killed, and they're rotating here on Invasion. These are the spawns that are just like, what is going on? They're down the street at this point. For some reason he spawns here. I don't know if there's like an Optic player way in the back, but there's so many better locations to spawn than looking at two Optic players and shooting them right in the side off spawn and just getting a free, like, just completely cutting off their rotations for free. Like, yeah, Optic got outplayed hella hard there. Like, I mean, shambolic, to be honest. But, yeah, I'll share a few clips here, especially what Pred's been up to.
No sense. 8 defense, though. It's my hill.
I finally found my groove on this game, so I didn't get in the hill anymore.
I hear you on the not getting in the hill comp.
I actually found my groove now, so like just
AG is not hitting the hill.
I just spread wings now.
Yeah, Joe.
What happened?
He asked if someone was using ATS. I said yes.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
He went to the pillar. He went to the pillar things. Go car time. I'm one shot.
Ripping everyone that I out. Oh my god, I'm just ripping everyone! Did he that too? Who the what's more? In red, it's in cockpit. Minus one plane, cut out bullshit. No plane, he's dead. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm fucking taking over, man.
Let's go, Pred.
Let's go, man. Yo, don't worry. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm here. Shotzi, dead! Don't worry about Shotzi. Pred's here. Naded.
Pred's here.
I need help, guys. I naded. Dead! What the f, Perry?
So it definitely seems like Pred is finding his groove on this game a little more. It's interesting, really, because scrims at the end of the day don't mean that much. Good results in scrims, of course, mean something, but there's not a massive correlation between how well a team does in scrims and how well they do in actual matches when they begin. And to be fair, when you're scrimming, a lot of the time your intention is to learn, not necessarily to win. Often teams, when they first start out, you know, their intention is to try and win the scrim. That's what they're playing for. But as time progresses, and even maybe in Optic's case as well, it's tough to say what's going on in their comms because we don't really get to hear it because they haven't been streaming over the last few days. But I guess their intention is just to learn and improve as opposed to necessarily just win every game they play. But they did pretty well against Team Temp yesterday. We know full well that Team Temp has been, you know, splitting maps and being competitive against a lot of teams. Optic is no exception to that, but they do lose the Terminal hardpoint. Optic 251-40 here, pretty emphatically so on, yeah, the first map, Terminal. Second map, though, here was Skid Row. That went the other way, and it feels like a few days ago we discussed, is it going to be Predator getting in the time, or is it going to be Shotzzy? Because one of the SMGs kind of has to commit to doing it more often than not, and to be fair, the map one that they lost, Shotzzy had a minute 11 in Hill, Pred had 25 seconds. Now, there's always going to be massive variation per map on this, but I think you get a general feeling of what they're planning to do, and Pred said himself that he kind of likes just running around. That's how he's found his groove. And we saw, for example, the other day, the 75k Zuma tournament, when, you know, Shotzzy and Pred were looking really good going into the finals of that tournament, for example. That was kind of more of like an 8 situation, really, where there's not too much structure in play. And that's where, you know, guys like Shotzzy can certainly thrive. In a more structured team environment, there's a bit more to think about there, but it feels like they're kind of getting there, I guess, Shotzzy and Pred, to understand what they're doing. And again, here on Skid Row, Shotzzy has almost 2 minutes in Hill. Dashy is second up, then Kenny, then kind of Pred behind that, but, you know, Pred 26 kills, running around getting kills. And I think that's probably where Pred is best suited, because the thing with Shotzzy is, I think you want to allow Shotzzy to use his abilities because not many players in the world, if anyone, can play how Shotzzy can play. But we know full well that sometimes Shotzzy and you know, Scrappy has talked about this even a few days ago, saying, oh, he goes for too many TikTok clips. Shotzzy likes to run around and sometimes he'll throw his life away too much. If you let Pred be your roaming slayer, who's just going to run around and get kills basically, he's going to be very good at doing so, but I think that in general, you know, he likes to lay down a bit more, play a little bit slower, knows when to play fast, knows when to play slow, knows how to get kills. So I feel like if I had to choose one of the two Optic SMG players, as it were, but Pred a lot of the time is just using an MCW right now because, you know, that's pretty much what the meta is, I think I'd have Pred do it, and I'd have Shotzzy in the hill. Because Shotzzy can still use his movement and stuff in the hardpoint and, you know, finesse a little bit. But maybe this helps Shotzzy be a little bit more reserved in the respawns, so the lives aren't just going down the drain, for example. Now, you know, we then get to Karachi hardpoint. Again, at 251.40. Don't know why this scoreline was so common. This map was not so good for Shotzzy. He had 9 kills. Dashy had 20. And they got pretty much crushed here on the Karachi. But the final 2 maps did go their way. They won the invasion here. So Dashy had the hill time here, and that makes sense. Again, it depends on the map. On this type of map, your AR needs to be in the hardpoint, really. And it makes sense for Dashy to be the one. And to be fair, there's not many SMGs really being used on this map anyway, as it stands. They did win this on Optic, and then the last map, Subbase, was actually kind of interesting. Another 251.40 for whatever reason. And it's kind of rare that anyone gets to 250 anywhere on this map, but it can happen. This was probably the most impressive, I thought. And of Optic's wins, it was a pretty consistent trend. Like, Shotzzy had 2 minutes in the hardpoint. Dashy had the second most amount of time. And then Pred has 37 kills, 24 deaths. So he was just running around cooking, you know. And towards the end of this series, that seemed to be how it is. So it's Pred right that he's kind of found his groove on this game. I think there's a good chance that that is the case. Is Shotzzy going to be doing predominantly a lot of the hill time from an SMG perspective? That seems to be the way that Optic are structuring it. And it seems to be helping them in general so far in their matches they've played. Just a quick update for you guys as well on what's going on in BPL right now. This is the current ladder if we get the refresh on this one. So Vivid is still #1 by quite some margin, really. He's on another 2-win streak, has so much MMR, almost at 1400 MMR here. So Vivid is cooking right now. Then Awakening, then Ghosty has also overtaken Draza, who's still played the most series, but only 18 in 16 means that he hasn't got that many points. If I filter by games, we'll see, you know, Decimate and TJ and Ghosty, and then Slash has played 20. So this is the overall ranking list at the moment. All the way at the bottom here, we have actually Snoopy's played 6 series, he's lost all 6, so that ain't looking so good. Shotzzy's now 3-8 after starting out 0-7. And it's crazy cool to see this as well. I don't know if you guys noticed this the other day, but I mentioned the Middle East and Africa League that BPL, well, the DCMAC and BPL have put on, and there's like so many players in there already. I know we're trying to like execute the same thing for EMEA or for like Tier 2 or even like an old man league. I think as Merck said, 30+ league when to get some of the older guys to be able to play. So yeah, that would be pretty fascinating. And just before we end the video, I wanted to mention this thread from Braden here. Now, I don't follow the NBA enough to know how good of comparisons these are. So I'm not really going to comment on the comparisons. I'm just going to share the comparisons. And I'll let you guys discuss in the comment section below between certain players. I definitely, obviously, I understand like where some of it's coming from. But there was like quite a lot of controversy that applies to this one as to how reasonable some of these comparisons are. Like we've got Simp to Steph Curry, we've got Abisa to Klay Thompson, Nadeshot to Richard Jefferson, Killer to Dennis Rodman. This is one actually, this next one that got quite a lot of controversy actually, was Aches to Kobe, and then Shotzzy to Devin Booker, among others. So I think the general perception was that this list was pretty good, but maybe a few changes necessary. But intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Scrappy and Dante.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
They both weigh 60 pounds each.
I actually like that.
AG's kneecaps are disappearing.
That's a good one. You're next to the size of my penis.
Bro, that son of a butcher got you fucking.
Oh my god.